Okay, we are coming into system number 5 for us, and number 5 takes us to the circulatory system. I don't like this red pen. Let me go with the orange, better color. We're on the circulatory system now, and that means we've been through 4 systems. If you're really doing your job and you are really starting to understand these systems and you're really understanding them, you're one of the things you're really starting to realize is that all these systems are really connected every which way you can think about. And the more ways you can tell me that these different systems work with each other, the more I know that you are understanding body systems. So we've been through these 4 already on the way to circulatory system. Let's just think about it like with skeletal system. So circulatory system, let's just cut to the chase here. It's the heart and blood vessels, and I bet most of you knew that with your prior knowledge, but if you don't, here we go. I just gave you the punchline as to what the structures are. Heart and blood vessels are the tubes that are moving blood, and we're going to see what these do. That's our job today. But do you remember the skeletal system interacts with this because you have the bones of the rib that kind of cage and make a hard structure around the heart. So they protect, not perform, the heart by forming a cage around it. And also the blood vessels in the heart are all about moving blood. And I don't know if you really do remember way back, but do you remember where the blood cells were made? Blood cells were made. They were made in the middle of bones. So if this is the hard outside of the bone with all the hard, this is like the bony stuff, the hard outer part. In the middle of the bones was the marrow. So this is a bone. And do you remember what the marrow made? The marrow made blood cells. So like the skeletal system, the bones are actually totally involved with the circulatory system. They're making the very cells that the circulatory system is using to kind of do its job. We'll talk about that in a minute. That's one thing. The muscular system, well, do you remember the circulatory system is made of the vessels? Those are tubes. Do you remember what's on the walls of all your body tubes? They have a muscular wall so that you can kind of open and close the tubes, that you can regulate these tubes. They have a muscle wall. So muscle is around all the blood vessels, okay? The muscle wall. All your blood vessels have a muscle wall that your body can open and close and regulate as it needs to. So for example, like when you are digesting a big meal, your body will open up the blood vessels that are going to your stomach. So that gets into the digestive system. The other thing is, another type of muscle was a kind that we called, it was a vocabulary word, cardiac muscle. Do you remember what cardiac muscle was? Well, that was just your heart. So again, the circulatory system is made up in large part by muscles and by things we were calling, by parts and pieces that we were calling a muscular system. And on it goes. The digestive system you're going to see and respiratory system you're going to see is totally related to the circulatory system. And really the circulatory system, when we get to the why have a circulatory system, one of the main reasons why is because of these 2 other systems. We're going to come back to that. But why do you need to have a circulatory system is going to really depend on what the digestive system and respiratory systems are doing. If you remember what they're doing, that's going to help you understand why you need a circulatory system. We'll get to that. So the main structures are right here. We got the heart. I'm just going to write H and BV, heart and blood vessels. The heart is this thing right in the middle. So in your body, the heart is the large structure in the middle, and your blood vessels are all these blue and red tubes everywhere else that you see. So the 2 main structures, heart and blood vessels. That's pretty easy. And we'll talk about the functions, as the specific functions of what the heart is doing and why, and what the blood vessels are doing and why. So the main function of the circulatory system, we're just going to use the word again, is to circulate. So the function of the circulatory system is to circulate. But really, again, let's get to the question of why do we need to circulate? So if the heart and blood vessels are circulating fluids around, let's just make it look like this. Here's your heart, and these are blood vessels. The circulatory system involves the two structures, the heart, and that's pumping the blood around, the blood through the vessels, the tubes. That's it. So the heart is pumping and around it goes. And when you circulate, it comes back to the source, back to the heart. The heart pumps again, out it goes, through. The blood eventually makes its way back to the heart, and it just keeps getting pumped and recycled back and forth to the heart. So that's what a circulatory system is, but we haven't answered why circulate. There's 3 reasons why you want to circulate, and these get back to the digestive and the respiratory system. So do you remember the digestive system is all about getting molecules that your cells need? Okay, the little food molecules that your cells needed. And it needed it for 2 reasons. There was the energy. It needed it for energy. Molecule cells need for energy and for building blocks to make more, and to build and grow and make more of its machines. Building blocks. So the molecules your cells need so the digestive system helped with that. I'm just going to write digestive system. But another molecule that you needed for energy was oxygen. That was O2. And that was your respiratory system. So it's really interesting. Your respiratory system is bringing in oxygen. Your digestive system is bringing in molecules. And these are all things that the cells need. Now, the circulatory system just has the job of getting these little molecules to all of the cells of your body. Your body is so big and you've got 1 trillion cells. There's no way these molecules are going to get there on their own. They need to be carried to all those cells. So your body has a crazy elaborate circulatory system really to help get these molecules to your cells and also get waste products away from your cells and out of your body. Get waste away. So get waste away and out of the body. So why circulate? There's the 2 reasons. It's really all about moving molecules. Moving molecules in that your body needs and out. Out of your body, and that's for the wastes. In for what your cells need, out for the waste. And that is why you circulate. You're moving molecules to all your cells that they need. You're getting rid of all those molecules, all those waste products that your cells make that they don't need and that are actually poisonous. If you don't get rid of them, your circulatory system helps remove those. That's the key function. And we're going to learn about how the circulatory system does that now. So let's start with the heart. That's the pump. And not surprising then, so the pump has to squeeze, so it's got a big muscle wall with all these big rooms and spaces in between. And I'm only going to concentrate, I'm only going to talk about the ventricles. The main pumps, let's just keep it simple. The main pumps are ventricles. So the main pump structures, there's a lot more to learn here. I could talk about the atria and all that, and you should feel free to read about what all these other parts and pieces of the heart are on your own time. I'm really just wanting to give you a good understanding of the big picture of all these, of how the whole circulatory system works. But you should definitely go into more of the details about how the heart works and what all these other parts are. But the main pump structures are called ventricles. Okay, so they pump the blood out. pump out the blood to circulate throughout the vessels, throughout the tubes, through the tubes. Okay, and you can see the tubes even in the heart, like right on the heart. There's the tubes that are heading out and some in, because remember, it's a circulatory system, so some blood has to return to the heart. So some of these tubes are doing just that. They're carrying the blood out. Some of the tubes are bringing more blood back in for, to complete the circulatory system. But the ventricles are the main guys that are pumping the blood out. And you can see there's two of them. But why is the heart a two-pump system? Why two pumps? And just going to put that question out there, and we're going to come back to it in a minute. You're going to see, though, why it makes total sense for the body to have a two-pump system. And again, all this information I'm telling you is really new, and if you're staying with it and following this, you're really learning a lot. So you've got a heart. It has two pumps. We're going to try to make sense of why two pumps are needed and because of what the circulatory system is doing, it almost requires having a two-pump system. If you get to that level of understanding, you're doing great. But just listen carefully, try to focus. I'll try to go slow enough to get you to understand all this. So the heart is the pump, and the blood vessels are all the tubes. There's red and blue, and we're going to talk about that in a second. So the blood circulation. Maybe I can, I'll talk about the blood circulation. So the blood circulation are the series of tubes, and just like when the blood is circulating through the body through its tubes or vessels, just like in the other body tube systems, like for breathing, these blood vessels, after they leave the heart, they go out from the heart, they branch, and they branch, and they branch. So like it comes out like this, and then it branches, and then these guys start branching, and then these guys start branching, and they get smaller and smaller and smaller, and finally the smallest, and they're all carrying blood, the blood's going through them, being pumped by the heart, and the smallest branches, just like with the respiratory system, you need a microscope to see them. So these branches get microscopic where you can't even see them with your eye. They're microscopic. The smallest branches are called, and I bet you've all heard of this term, they're called capillaries. So the smallest branches, the smallest little vessels are called capillaries. And the capillaries, I'm just going to make a diagram where I'm showing like one capillary. But remember, you would not even be able to see this with your eye. And there's blood moving through the capillary. And the capillary, these capillaries go up and they're around every one of your body cells. So let's just say this is one body cell. But you've got trillions of body cells. And remember, if this is one body cell, these are all microscopic. A body cell. So what's happening? Now remember, your digestive system and respiratory system were providing something that your body cells needed. And all those things are actually being carried in the blood. The things that your body needs are all being carried by the circulatory system, and they end up in these capillaries. And they are delivering all these small molecules to all of your body cells. This blood vessel would be covered, it would be all sorts of body cells with things moving in and things moving out from the blood into the cells. These are all cells. Okay, and here's one big cell. I made it big just so I can make a diagram. But the things that your cells need are the oxygen and the sugar, because it's getting the energy out. And your cells are using that to grow and divide and to move things around, but your cells are getting the energy out. And remember, your cells are using those those like little mitochondria to do that. So we're getting into cells and organelles. It all comes together. But the molecules that the mitochondria need to do that inside the cells are coming through the circulatory system. And after your mitochondria do their chemical reactions, the waste products are carbon dioxide and water. And you don't want those to build up in the cell. So those get carried out. Those get carried back out into the blood so that you can get the waste products out. So your circulatory system is circulating really just to move molecules around to all the cells. It's bringing molecules in that your cells need, and it's carrying the molecules out that your cells produce as waste products. That is why you have a circulation. But now, let's get back to that original question of why do you have the two circulations? And it should make sense because so this is your left ventricle, and this is your right ventricle in blue. So the left ventricle is red, and the left ventricle is red, the right ventricle is blue, and let's see what's going on. So your left ventricle is pumping the blood out to the body. So I'm just going to do the arrow like this. So the left ventricle is going out to the body. It's giving the cells, it's going out to all the body cells. So that has lots of oxygen in it because your cells need it. And there's not much carbon dioxide because that's the waste product. And that's what the cells are going to start putting in. But before it can get out to the body, it doesn't have much of the CO2 in it. That's good. That's a waste. So CO2 is a waste. So the blood going out to the body is good. You've got high O2, high oxygen, and you've got low carbon dioxide. You've got a lot of what you need and a little bit and not much waste. And it's good blood and it goes out to your body. And I'll just write good blood because it's got what your cells need. Okay, it's got what your body cells need. And I'll just write that. Cells, it's got what cells need. Okay, and then after it gets to your body and your cells are using up all the oxygen and they're giving it carbon dioxide, the CO2's coming in now and all the oxygen's leaving, the blue blood is low oxygen because the cells have used it. They've taken it out of the blood and they're dumping in the carbon dioxide, so that's high. So when your blood comes back to the heart, it's bad blood. Bad blood. It doesn't have much oxygen in it for your cells. It's got a lot of waste. So the heart's like, no problem. I'm going to make a second circulation to get rid of this bad blood or to make the bad blood become good again. So the right ventricle does the second circulation to the lungs. So the two circulations are the body circulation and the lung circulation. The body circulation has the good blood. It's got the blood that the cells need, high oxygen. Good blood with high oxygen. And the lungs, well, that's bad blood because the lungs are going to get rid of the CO2. It's got high carbon dioxide. So the lungs are going to breathe this out and then bring back more oxygen to make the blood good again. So if you look here, it's bad blood going into the lungs. It's blue. Bad blood is blue. Good blood is, where did I write good blood? Good blood is red. So if you look out to the lungs, the heart is pumping bad blood out to the lungs. Lots of waste, not much oxygen. The lungs do their job and make the blood good again. So then the good blood goes back to the heart. The heart's like, thank you. Now I can send this good blood back out to the body. And it does this double circulation. It goes like this. Good blood's coming to the heart. The left ventricle says, great, I got to get this out to the body. It's good blood, lots of oxygen. Pump it out to the body. The body's like, thank you. It uses the oxygen. It delivers its waste products in. So now the blood, after it's been through the body, it's bad. It's used up the oxygen. It's got a lot of waste products in it. So this is the bad blood coming back to the heart, to the second pump, so that you can pump to lungs. So it's like right ventricle, lungs. Left ventricle, body. Back to the right ventricle, lungs. Left ventricle, body. And you get this two circulation system, a two pump system, a good blood, bad blood system, where the circulatory system is making sure that your body is getting good blood. And then the lung circulation is all about turning that bad blood good again, so that the blood can do another round into the body, and it goes around and around and around multiple times doing this circulation. And it's all about bringing and bathing the cells in the molecules that your body's cells need, and then carrying back all their baggage and garbage and carbon dioxide and the things that the cells don't need, so that you can get those molecules and those toxins and anything else that's not good for your body out. So the circulatory system is all about that, working very closely with all these other body systems. Okay, that's a lot. I think you may have to watch this or go back to parts if you like to kind of have all this make sense. I went through a lot of pretty complicated material, and I know this is at a level that you haven't done before, a lot of new stuff. So watch it a couple times to really let it sink in if you need to. But we are now done with the circulatory system.